Kelly have been members of the Presbyterian Church since 1993. Rand is a hard-working, dedicated physician, not a career politician. His entrance into politics is indicative of his life's work, a desire to diagnose problems and provide practical solutions. He is pledged to work every day in the United States Senate at reforming government and ending business as usual here in our nation's capital. Would you put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage Rand Paul?
But I said, look, surely there'll be a podium, and I'll just be behind the podium and nobody will know. But y'all can keep a secret, right? You won't tell my wife about this. You may have heard about, there was a little girl, and she said she wanted $100. And she said she'd do good things with it, and so she wrote a letter. She said, "Dear God, I'd like $100. I'll do good things with it." So she sent it off. The postmaster got it. He didn't know what to do it, so he sent it to the president. The president said to his secretary, he said, "Oh, that's so cute, send her $5. That'll be a lot of money to her." So the little girl gets $5, and she's like, $5? But her parents had told her always write a thank you. So she wrote a thank you. She said, "Dear God, thanks for the $5, but next time, don't send it to Washington. They stole 95%.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if anybody here was unhappy when the Supreme Court ruled on Obama. I was a little bit unhappy, and my wife sometimes tells me that I should count to 10 before I say anything. But I took it upon myself to say that just because a couple of guys down there at the Supreme Court said it's unconstitutional doesn't make it so. I got kind of blasted by the left wing for that, and so I had to further explain what I meant. And what I meant was, I still think it's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Was that I agree with Justice Scalia, Justice Thomas, Justice Alito, and the others. Do you think they've changed their mind? Do you think if Justice Scalia were here today and you asked him, is it unconstitutional? Yes, it's unconstitutional. The arguments haven't changed. We lost the vote. We need a better Supreme Court. It's what we need. Some say we should be done with it. Give up, you know, you lost. You lost, give up. This debate is not a new one, and it's not over. This debate has been going on from the beginning of the Republic. It was Hamilton versus Madison from the very beginning. I think if Madison were here today, he would also tell you that he still thinks it's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
The debate is an important one. The debate, and George Will got it exactly right. George Will said that the case against Obamacare is the last exit on the highway to unlimited government. He got it exactly right. It's not just about health care. This is about whether we live under government that is limited by laws, whether our government is limited by enumerated powers. And we talked and talked and talked about the Commerce Clause and how surely they couldn't require you or penalize you for not engaging in commerce. And lo and behold, we won that argument, and they opened up another door, the taxing argument. The problem is I think there's no consolation in winning the Commerce Clause argument, because they've opened another door, and all big government will now be driven through the taxing clause. But this was debated. Madison said that the taxing authority is limited by the general welfare. But the general welfare clause, if it were to mean nothing, if it were to be unlimited, why would we have listed the 19 enumerated powers? It was meant to be limited. Now, even if you say, and I know no one in this crowd thinks this, but people around the country might say, oh, that Constitution is just old, and you're just talking about some vague details. But even if you were one of those people and you don't care about the Constitution, I know that's nobody here, but let's say you were one of these people. There's one very practical and overwhelming reason why we shouldn't have Obamacare. We have about 50 million people on Medicare. Medicare is $35 to $40 trillion short. So we're going to add 45 million people who don't have insurance, and it's not going to cost you anything. It's not going to add to the deficit, and I've got some swampland I'll sell you in Florida. It's unbelievable, it's untenable, and the fact that he could get away with this and say that he was actually going to reduce the debt with this. Government doesn't do anything very well. And I say, it's not that government is stupid, although that's a debatable question. It's that government doesn't get the right signals. If you have a small business or a big business, you got to meet a payroll, you got to make a profit, you got to feed your family. You are forced out of business if you don't make wise decisions. 9 out of 10 businesses fail. They succeed only through amazing hard work, intelligence, finding a niche. But the thing is that they don't understand that. They don't understand that concept at all. Now the media says you just need to compromise. If you hold hands and sing Kumbaya, everything will be okay. And so we have come up with a compromise. And this is big news. I'm announcing it here for the first time. Republicans and Democrats have gotten together and compromised. We've agreed, at least in principle, no longer to send checks to dead people. Don't clap yet. Don't clap, because it's only in principle, and I fear that they're too stupid to figure it out. You say, how big a problem could it be? We sent over $600 million in checks to dead people over the last 5 years. One guy got his dad's check from 1971 to 2008, over $500,000, and you know how they caught him? He died. Incompetence. We can't have more government. Jefferson was right. Government's a necessary evil. We got to have some. But government is best. The government is least, because the government does very few things very well. The president said, "You didn't build that." I took this as a personal insult. We've all got roads, we've all got public schools, but, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I feel like I earned some of the success of going to medical school. Everybody had the roads, everybody had the school, and so we sent out a tweet. We didn't ask my wife about this, I'm sure she would have disapproved, but I said in my tweet, you might be an economic illiterate if you think that the roads cause business success and not the other way around. Not only do I take it as an insult, the family that runs the American Donut Shop in Bowling Green, the Vietnamese first-generation immigrant family that gets up at 4 in the morning and makes donuts and works their butt off, their kids are going to prestigious schools because they're valedictorians and they work hard. You think they don't deserve it? Does the president somehow think the roads gave them their business? If he thinks that is so, he so misunderstands what has made this country great that I think he really is unqualified for his position.
Yeah! Woo! That's what you call a matador.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Dick Ernie. Don't you love a man in jeans and boots?